Numero 5. La quinta fragranza. La mia quintessenza femminile per donne moderne che non stanno mai ferme nei salotti. Sono Coco Chanel. Ho inventato un nuovo modo di vestire, simile alle forme del cubismo, sintetico e pratico. Una specie di cut-up a colpi di forbice, coi numeri non si scherza. Sono morta nel 1971, a 87 anni. Quindi ho visto e capito tutto. Non ho mai tenuto conto degli amanti che ho avuto. Certamente più di 5, più di 9 e più di 19, il numero che ho dato all'ultimo dei miei profumi. Il 19 è il giorno della mia nascita, in agosto. Di figli non ne ho mai voluto sapere. Mi è bastata la storia di mia madre Jeanne, che morì spossata da troppe gravidanze a 32 anni. So che è strano, ma non ho mai saputo disegnare né cucire. Sapevo tagliare, questo sì, e sforbiciare abiti addosso a un corpo vero di donna. Anche con i capelli ci ho dato un taglio quando me li sono bruciati. Taglio corto alla maschietta con frangetta corta. E sotto la frangia, via bustini, corsetti e impalcature. Il corpo sta dentro un tailleur asciutto o un tubino nero. Le petite robe noire, filante come un'auto sportiva. Un piccolo cappellino di paglia su quel taglio corto, 2 gocce di numero 5 ed è tutto nuovo, nuovissimo. Ho conosciuto Picasso e Cocteau, ma non mi sono fatta impressionare, tanto meno mettere incinta. Con Stravinsky ho avuto una certa relazione, ma tutto è finito lì, nonostante il suo uccello di fuoco. Io sono come la bottiglia del mio numero 5, senza grazie, un monolite. Non sono mai stata materna. I tanti miei amanti non mi sono serviti per mettere al mondo un figlio. Ho dedicato loro un profumo, Pour Messier. Era il 1955. Nel 1922 avevo vestito la Antigone di Cocteau. L'ho sentita vicina. Sono Coco Gabrielle Chanel.
As our video showed, if we go back in time, we can say that we have had a great moment for gender equality when the Treaty of Rome was signed in 1957. In the treaty, Article 119 affirmed gender equality in the workplace in terms of pay and equal rights. This significant step was followed by a long series of treaties, directives and jurisprudence aiming to ensure that individuals saw such rights respected. until in 2007, we made a further amazing step. The Lisbon Treaty expanded the original statement by affirming the right to non-discrimination and gender equality in the widest possible meaning. But someone can ask why we still talk about equal rights between genders if we live in Europe, one of the most respectful areas for gender equality. Well, the fact is that the analysis shows that even the most advanced nations need to work on prejudice and habits. In this context of continuous improvements, EPF wants to build a community to tackle the issues related to gender equality in everyday life, starting from the work environment. We want to do it in a 2-year-long series of global and local events, asking the participants, regardless to the gender, to invent and propose possible solutions in Italy, France, Spain, and Germany. This is why we are here today, with 5 very exemplary and successful women who will give us their experience and expertise to correctly frame the problem of gender equality and start the process of generating proposals on how to implement a real action. And now I'm honored to introduce to you the first one. Can you hear us, Maria Caso Escudero?
Yes, here I am.
Nice to meet you, Maria, and thanks for being here with us.
Thank you, Vanna. It's a pleasure to share and also to learn from you.
I'd like now, before interviewing you, I'd like to give you a couple of minutes just because I want to give you the floor so we can have the pleasure of listening directly by you, your story, so you can inspire us. Please.
Thank you so much, Vanna. Well, if I had to say what is my story about, my story is a story of a passion, of a vocation, that is of strengthening democracy based on citizen participation, based on considering democracy as a living system, that a process that we citizens must make our own, because I always say democracy is not inherited. As a Spanish, where democracy is very young, we don't have to take it as inherited, but as something that we have to create every day. So how do I translate that into my day-to-day activity? As a councilwoman of the Socialist Party in Madrid, I'm the youngest politician at the local level in Madrid. I lead 3 districts that add up to almost 400,000 neighbors, people, like the entire cities of Florence or Bologna in Italy. Among the subjects that I am in charge of are youth, education, international development cooperation, and sports. I combine this honor of being a councilwoman with being the founder of Demos Lab, which I think we will have a moment later to share more about it. Where is the place where I try to turn into tangible projects those great ideas that I am sure we are going to take to talk about today. For the past 7 years, I have been very involved in giving young people a voice and being a loudspeaker for our needs. I have founded different civil society organizations and youth movements with whom I continue to establish relationships every time I want to promote a political proposal now from the council. In addition to democratic analysis, which I undoubtedly consider my big issue, as a young woman, as a young LGTB woman, and as an activist who believes in human rights, I have also developed my professional career in the field of international cooperation, being part of networking projects in civil society, funding, and NGO, and developing strategic consulting and advocacy work with the World Bank in Spain, leading the institutional relationships of its Global Partnership for Education program to amplify its reach in my country.
Thank you, Maria. You are a super busy woman, and you have 2 careers, no? A political one and an entrepreneur one. But we have another woman who do the same. Is it right? Is it correct, Elizabeth Bonaria Vargio?
Here I am. Yes, thank you very much for having me at this beautiful meeting. I'm sorry if I had some technical problems, but here I am.
Don't
My
worry,
name
you
is
are
Elizabeth.
welcome.
Thank
So
you.
now,
Thank you.
may I ask you if you can present yourself, introduce yourself, and tell us about your life?
Yes, my name is Elizabeth Bonaria Vargiu, and I live here in Sardinia. I'm 50 years old, and I am a owner of a hotel, which means that I am also the director of the hotel, but I am in charge, obviously, of all aspects of my company. It's a family-run hotel, and I'm very proud of what so far we've managed to accomplish as a family and as a team. I truly fully believe, obviously, in what the power is of working together with people from different parts of Sardinia, different parts of Italy. But since 3 years now, I'm also in the town council. And luckily in my town, Tempio Pausania, we are many women working with our mayor and working with other males that are part of the council, obviously. But the fortune is that we are able to contribute and give a different vision of all aspects that occur during, obviously, the many meetings and the many situations that have to be taken care of. As I've had a chance to say, I'm also married and I have 2 lovely children, which are 20 and 17. So obviously my personal life, my family life, my working life, and my political life are all combined together, and I try to do my best.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I would like to start with some questions with you, if you are right.
Yeah.
The first one is, what is the secret of your success? How do you build a business and a political career like yours from scratch?
This is a tough question. I've always felt that a very important ingredient in life is to be willing to listen to what other people have to say, and to be very determined and yet humble at the same time. There is no way of growing in any sort of field unless you are willing to be surrounded by people that may have opinions different from yours, and that many times have a lot more experience than what you feel you have. It takes courage to be put in an environment where you feel you're not in the highest position as far as experience. But as long as you understand that everyone can learn from everybody, and that if you are determined to sacrifice a lot of your personal ego and your personal will for a global project, with determination, with time, with sacrifice, success does arrive.
Are there any female figures who have represented a role model or inspiring reference point for you?
Well, actually, I would say that probably my grandmother on my mother's side was always a great example of a very independent and strong woman that was very caring and very close to her family, but also she did not want to sacrifice her career, her education, and her passions for taking care of just whatever was necessary for the family. She always managed to give us as a grandchildren many attentions, but she had time to go fishing and playing cards and doing many other hobbies, but also working as a nurse, and so taking care of lots of people that needed her. So she was definitely an example and a very inspiration for me.
You talk about care later. We come back on this topic, but now I would like to ask you, which role do you think communication plays in the process of achieving success?
I would say that probably one of the biggest problems in society right now is the lack of communication, mostly due to the fact that people do not like to listen to other people's opinions and are not willing to change their opinions, even when they realize that maybe what you were thinking is not exactly correct, or that you can achieve the same result also changing a bit your opinion. Right now, it seems to me that communication is just overwhelming. People just want to talk, and not listen. And if you don't listen, you don't understand. And if you don't understand, you don't even grow. So I would say that communication is extremely important right now.
I totally agree with you. So now I would like to come back to Maria, because like Elizabeth, Maria is both an entrepreneur and a politician. So Maria, in Spain, El Futuro es Ahora and Demos Lab are two important realities in the social and political sector. What are their goals and targets?
Well, thank you, Vanna. Demos Lab is a think tank dedicated, as my passion I already explained, to strengthen democracy through citizen participation. Our mission is to bring together all those social agents that we say that have to hear to each other, as my president was saying, with the aim of channeling the concerns of citizens, both younger and older generations, in order to address the main debates and challenges. And how do we do it? We do it through deliberative processes, like citizens' assemblies of randomly selected people representing the diversity of the whole country, macro surveys, dissemination of contrasted information, rigorous research, etc. Paradoxically, being a councillor of the capital, one of the things that we have also proposed is to bring those democratic innovation systems and citizen participation processes to rural areas, being the first entity of this style in the territory of those small municipalities. And about El Futuro es Ahora, which you also mentioned, it was born after the pandemic because we wanted young people to be the ones writing the future of Spain. It was a project promoted in collaboration with many different institutions, public and private institutions. We launched the first macro survey in the history of our young democracy. And after that, actually, unfortunately, there have been more micro surveys, but those brought the voices of 13,000 young people to Congress and put on the table the main demands and concerns of the new generations. Actually, today we can celebrate that we even have a ministry of youth, which was something unthinkable when we launched El Futuro es Ahora, the future is now. All those projects that we do from Demos Lab and El Futuro es Ahora want to put that young voice in the center, and this is why we are developing different themes. El Futuro es Clima, the future is climate, and which is probably the most important example we have now.
Many thanks for this great explanation, and it's so good to put youngs in the center. But now, let's talk about another topic, because you have often highlighted the importance of women's networks. What do these networks generate when we create them?
Well, those are super important because I think patriarchy invented competition among women and took away our right to have leisure spaces, to have spaces where we create social relations that for men, those are some kind of innate. For example, if we analyze this, the 8-hour working day that was achieved in the last century, when you think about the 8 hours for work, 8 hours for sleep, and 8 hours for leisure, where is care? Care was constructed among women's efforts. So I think that's not having that leisure and those spaces for social relations have have put us away from those spaces of power that I'm sure we also will talk about it later. So together that that care that was among women and that competitiveness that was imposed on us for a long time, that have prevented us from developing those networks. But on positive, like in the positive way, what can a network give to you? I think that it gives you many alliances that when you you take a step, you know you are not alone, that you can learn from others, that even in a very aggressive world as politics is, I think that when patriarchy goes against you, knowing that you have those networks allow you to be safe and to allow you to maybe even make mistakes, right? That has something that many times women have couldn't do. So I think those networks make you create a safe space for you, and also make you feel if a woman did it before, you can also do it, and you will not be alone.
And now let's talk about gender equality. It's fundamental to have women in pivotal roles. You often say that the introduction of quotas for women is not enough if in the end they are relegated to second place while men become foreign minister, minister of industry, or minister of the economy. What are, in your opinion, the key factors to achieve this different level of gender equality? It's not only quantity, but also quality, if we can say.
Yeah, that is super important. I think there are two major structural challenges struggle in this struggle for equality, and both are kind of unseen. One has to do with spaces. We have to distribute equally spaces. When I was young, when I was a kid, actually, space was the play yard of a school. And in that player, the ones that were playing football were only men. Nowadays, those spaces that you cannot count, as you were saying, quotas, you can count them, the percentage of women in parliament, you can count it, but the space, how space is developed, you cannot always count it. Now I think spaces are something different. Spaces are also media. Something that scares me a lot is how we don't have female opinion influencers, for example, in my country, and the only ones who are having millions and millions of people looking at their videos are always men, supposedly apolitical. And the other very big struggle that I see, it has to do with what you were saying, has to do with access to real power that is much more intangible than those quotas. It is not easy to measure them. What is real power? Real power many times is not seen, is not the one that actually is not the one that is in the photo, but is the one that actually makes hidden decisions. In politics, for example, is in the organic positions, are those who control the party structures. So I think it is not enough to have women. For sure, it is a must to have women in your electoral lists, and they have to be in the different parliaments, but they have to be in real power, which means not only deciding about equality and about inclusion, but also about economics, about, for example, about the war, which is a current issue right now, and we don't have women deciding about, for example, the future of war in the Middle East right now. That is real power.
Many thanks, Maria, for your interview, for your time, for your voice, for your experience. I think that now it's time to add 2 more chairs to our round table. So I'm honored to introduce to you Miriam Izquierdo from Spain and Paola Fabiani from France.
Nice to be here with you and to share this round table.
Hi, Paola. Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome. Nice to meet you. Welcome to being here. So I'd like to ask to Miriam if she wants to introduce herself, talking us about her life, please.
Well, I'm president of the Women Forward Foundation, which is a foundation which creates value in organization promoting leadership and gender equality. I have part of my career going through Brussels, where I was a lawyer in big law firms in Gomez de Pombo and Baker McCase and White and Case for several years. And then I also joined the commission where I was civil servant until the year 2000. Then I came back to Spain and I started the career as entrepreneur. Well, first of all, I was a general manager of a big company here in Spain, Calidad Pascual, dealing with compliance issues and what we will today understand under social responsibility and sustainability. Actually, it was the beginning of that, actually. And then I was entrepreneur for several years, and I have a consultancy where I normally work. And I part of my time, I am in serving as the president of this foundation, where we have different schemes of training for women, and where we do also research in order to push the agenda forward, because there are still a lot of different grounds where we can help women to really reach these positions of responsibility in society, in the economy, and of course in corporations.
We will come back in a couple of minutes, but now I would like to ask to Paola Fabiani to introduce herself. Many thanks, Miriam.
So, hi, thank you very much for your invitation to talk about this essential subject. To quickly introduce myself, so I have a master's degree of economics from Paris Panthéon-Assas University and accounting expertise studio. Alongside my studies, I joined Teleperformance Mondial Marketing Leader, you know, perhaps. I progressed in this sector to the position of Operation Director of Armatis Group. And at 24, I became sales director and co-dear member of Neuf Telecom, LDCom Group. And I founded Wisecom, creating in 20 years ago, which is a call center company, which a unique position and site in the heart of Paris, Ajaccio. Highly committed in the entrepreneurial business, convinced of the company's social and community role. I chair since its creation in 5 years ago, the MEDEF COMEX 40 for the young the entrepreneur, and I'm a member of the CESU. CESU, it's the Economic, Social and Environmental Council. A member and VP of the MEDEF now since 6 months, and in charge of entrepreneurship and spokeswoman, just quickly.
Thank you, Paola. I would like to ask you, speaking about Wisecom, you define it as the first call center in Paris downtown, in downtown Paris. How would you describe the new model that he has inaugurated? Please open your microphone.
We create Wisecom to be different of the offshore call center, because, you know, perhaps the call center are principally in France, in North Africa, and our position is to collaborate CSRD with attractive talent and proximity. And when we create Wisecom, nobody are in Paris and nobody believe in this concept because it's very specific one. And the difficulty is to show how we can be competitive in this sector activity and our influence in the main town than Paris. For us, we have 4 key four key points. The first one is to attractive talents that they didn't come to the call center because they have not a very attractive image, and it's sometimes very difficult, and they didn't seem like that. So we develop a specific communication, a specific position, a specific action to have the best talent and to match them with the activity of our client, like industry, retail, tourism, bank, insurance, and all of them. The second point of our specific model is to fidelize the people, because in our business there is a lot of I would say we spell turnover, and they don't stay long time. It's very quickly. So the company like us has difficulty to capitalize on these people. So for us, the main subject is how to train them, to elevate and to capitalize and to keep them. So we work on CSR because it's very important, and for us, we think that CSR is an accelerate of performance. So we work to manage for example, women, for example, mother, for example, adapt planning, for example, caution for find an apartment or flats. We make a lot of things about that, and we have something like 5% of turnover, where the market is around 25%. So it's best quality for us and a very competitive goals. The third point, and perhaps the most atypical one, that we invested in IE technology, and we think that all repetitive action don't necessitate a human. So we put all repetitive action with IA technology, and we accompany our client in this market, and we concentrate our teams in the best value to the more important action and to become more perfect. So the third point, these 3 points permit to have best competitivity and to become a challenger from all the country. That's the story quickly of Wisecom. We have two sites in Paris, one in Ajaccio, and about we are 250 people.
Wow. Congrats for what you do. But a busy life and success don't have prevent you from dedicating yourself to causes related to the common good. What projects have you been involved with in this field?
For me, how can I explain? For me, it's the social, the engagement, and the financial for a company is the 3 point and the 3 goal. So they are not dissociated. You see what I mean? So for me to engage in the citoyen life and to something like give my little stone to the whole organization seems for me very important for 2 reasons. The first one is to discuss with the other entrepreneur and dirigents. It's important because I can learn a lot of things and become best with my company. The second one, very important, is to push my idea and conviction and try to become better. And the third point is that engagement give me a vision every day, every year of all the things, of the country, of the subject. So I can manage it, I can anticipate it, and I can try to how you say, to explain everybody what can we do together. That's the 3 main point for me. That's the engagement, and after, so I explain after where I engage.
We have already talked about women networks with Maria Escudero. You are the vice president of MEDEF, the first network of entrepreneurs in France. What projects does MEDEF promote?
A lot of, so just perhaps before we talk about the project, explain what is the MEDEF and how it works. So we have, for example, very important, 190,000 affiliate companies. So very representativity. That's the main point of the MEDEF, because he can do all it was because he has its representativity. We have 100 professional federation and 119 territorial organizations. So we have this representativity, very important, and that we do. To do what? To do promoting competitiveness. Promoting competitiveness of the French business and the French company, were the main point of contact and reference for decision makers and public authorities, and with defending the interest of business and entrepreneur in all economics and social body at local, regional, national, and European level. So the point is, why the MEDEF? The MEDEF are raison d'être, we like this. It's acting together for responsible growth. It is important to repeat this because all we do is around this point and this goal. To give you different example of our action, and after I talk about women because it's very important for the MEDEF, and we make a lot of things about that because we want to advance this point. The first commission, for example, we have commission about corporate economics, sovereignty and security. We have 16 commissions. So we have a commission about ecological transition. We have Europe, because it's very important, and we have a representative in Brussels to work with the other organization and the other country, like Confindustria, for example, in Italy. We have taxation, energy, education, training, skills and youth, growth and territory. So we have a lot of subjects and activity around the economic business, but not only. Around the woman, the MEDEF creates the Femme du MEDEF, MEDEF in a woman in MEDEF. It's a very big network because, as Maria tell about network, it is very important to develop the network, the women network, to become, to exchange, to appropriate, and to learn about the other one. So for the MEDEF, this goal is principle. The second one is to develop the model role, like we do perhaps today, to convince, to propose other women to do that, and to engage them to do the entrepreneurship, for example, to engage in the organization, and to talk about their conviction. It is the second point important for the MEDEF. The other point is to accompany the woman during the progression. So we develop a lot of activity about that, and we are the first organization who signed with the ONU Organization of Parity and Equality Women. So very important one, and very, very active one.
Many thanks, Paola. Now from France, we fly back to Spain because I would like to talk with Miriam again about her project. What kind of projects does Women Forward run?
Women Forward has a platform to manage gender equality, whereby we train companies and we help them with their targets. We negotiate with them targets in order to attain gender equality in the different key indicators that we have in our certification. We have a certification of gender equality that they can complete through our platform. That was like an ISO, like a standard. And with the company, we negotiate SMART objectives, SMART, in order that they advance progressively in their gender equality education and an accomplishment of the different policies. For example, the pay gap or co-responsibility, or the percentage of managers they have by employees, by the 100 employees, for example, different indicators. We also have training for not only for corporates, but also for the trade unions. We do different trainings in order that they really that the equality pays. That equality is of course a human right, gender equality and equality in general. But we dedicate most of our our efforts to attain gender equality. But there are still, I must confess that we see every day that there are many males and sometimes also females that still do not see the advantages of gender equality, despite of all the sensibilization actions that we have do and other organizations also do. There are still many companies that don't see it, and even also men, trade unions, so parts of the society that still don't really understand why we should have a policy to attain gender equalities, like you were saying before about this quota law. And then we do leadership. We also help women to overcome problems like the imposter syndrome, for example, or the confidence gap, confidence breach that all women have, even if they have a right to be presidents or whatever, they always have a kind of confidence gap with the men, which is somehow something we have inherited by the years of history and throughout the history, which is in our ADN. No? It's always when you ask a little girl what do you want to go to do to be in life, and they are all dreaming and all becoming and all saying they want to be anything. But then when they arrive 12 years or 13 years, the expectations tend to diminish. Sometimes they don't find references in the neighborhood, and sometimes they are also victims of barriers of the whole environment. Sometimes it's the family, sometimes are the small children in the school, sometimes it's at the street, the friends, whatever. So we have different programs and different schemes to help women in different years to overcome all these gaps. We have trainings. For example, the other day we did one with a university in Spain for young students that they are going to leave university in 1 or 2 years and confront themselves with the professional world. And some of them are already more reluctant than the men in order to look for different positions. We do research also at the foundation to be able to communicate what we are saying, not just because we feel it or because we hear it or because people tell us, but because we measure it and we do our own research, and we also disseminate research from universities and from other research bodies worldwide. Particularly, we are more focused in Europe, but we are also well collaborating with several institutions in the States or in Israel or in other parts of the world. I myself have just published in a journal a paper on how we can use artificial intelligence to discover gender gaps in the look for, to cover decision-making positions by women. And we see this breach of confidence. Just when we look at the gender biases that these job postings have. Of course, in the company, in the countries where we have this kind of job postings, because this is not the case in Spain. These positions, you don't really find them anywhere, just the headhunters or even the boards, for example. You cannot really say, oh, I am going to postulate or send my candidacy to this position because I have seen it in the Economist or in the Financial Times or similar, like in Spain, in El País or wherever, because you will never find this kind of announcements, no, this kind of job postings, which is already something, because this is really, you see that they are not equal opportunities. You have a network, and particularly men have their own network where they also support themselves, each other, because well, they are more probably so equal attires equal, and they are more confident working with themselves, among themselves, and for themselves, than really opening these kind of spaces more and more to women. I mean, France did it very well with the gender quota law because the member of the parliament who passed the law not only did it also for the boards, but also made it for the COMEX, for the executive committees. That was not the case in Italy, and we had never had a quota law, and we had just a code of good practice from our stock exchange, and the same thing that the only thing that has attained is that, well, the percentage of women in board positions in Spain, of course, is now better than 20 years ago, but it has gone up so little but little that it has not boosted cultural transformations in the organization, so that the perception of gender equality by Spanish CEOs or Spanish men in decision positions in the companies has not really changed. So we do research for that, and we put it black and white. Yesterday I was in a company, for example, seeing with them what their perceptions were, and we saw the men were saying that they don't see these obstacles. They don't think that there are these perceptions, these different perceptions, and the company previously had passed a survey, and the differences between men and women were more than 50% in many questions regarding gender equality and possibilities inside the company, promotion possibilities, access, trainings, and so on.
May I ask you, what is the role of education and training in allowing women to achieve success?
Well, education is, for example, education for arriving to the highest decision-making positions, to become a board member, for example, which is something very interesting, because when you are in a board of a company, you really oversee all the things the company is doing, and you can change the cultural setting of the company and start changing the mentality, or start changing the process that will allow the company to really be a more inclusive place to work for everybody. So this is why it is important also, no? And but we also, as I say, we do training to change the mentality of men and women, to see the benefits, the benefits of gender equality in general, and for women to overcome all these biases, complexes, for men to become also the biases. We all have biases, ones or others, but there are certain gender biases or certain biases that are really linked to the gender, and this is also the trainings that we do. And we do trainings also in sustainability and in several other issues, in order that women are better and better prepared to arrive to these decision-making positions, not only in companies, but also eventually in the in the civil service, well, wherever in society.
Many thanks, Miriam. Now I'd like to talk with all of you for exemplar women, because I have some questions for all of you. The first one is, how is politics supporting female entrepreneurship in your country? So we are talking about Italy, Spain, and France. Please, I would like to start from Elizabeth.
The matter is not easy at all to be discussed in a very accurate way. As in right now, the situation in Italy is quite complex, because apparently, because we have a woman president, a national woman president finally, and in my case, even my region has, for the first time in, I think, centuries, a woman president of the region. It may seem that we should be focusing on all the actions that are necessary to give same opportunities for women and men. But as of right now, not much has been done, especially trying to find some small, I don't want to say some small actions that can help more and more women to become career women, to become political women, to become examples for the society. We are always extremely appreciated once we can reach those positions, and usually we are very well understood, and we are very able to understand also what's the situation that other people are living, and to communicate and to moderate and to be very incisivo, very accurate and determined to reach our goals. We've learned in centuries, I think, that nothing is easy, and that if we want to reach a solution, we can always find the way of arriving there. But as far as political actions right now, not much has been done.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Let's talk about France now. Paola, what do you think?
In France, we have two important laws like Copé-Zimmermann, the first one, and the second, the last one is Rixin, to explain impose a quota in management position in large company to 40% of female executive under penalty. So it's not enough, but it's one point. Little by little, I think it's developing, and we are catching up. Even if today a woman wait until she has, for example, 10 years of professional career before starting. So women wait 10 years before starting entrepreneurship than men don't wait. So there is a lot of education point, I think. The first is the education, and to generate the pipe for the women of the future. You see what I mean? So if we don't have a big pipe, we can generate women. We can generate women in politics and entrepreneurship, women everywhere. So I think it's very important to consider the appreciation of the family, of the ecosystem, and how the young woman can go in every activity and can learn a lot of things. And one point this point was evoked. I think the confidence is the second key point, because very often women don't have confidence to go, and they wait a lot of time. So if we accelerate these two, I would say, mentality model, and define another one, so it was better, because we find women in the governance body, we find women in entrepreneurship, we find more women in politics. So I think it's important that our country works on this, and the Europe work on this too, because there's both.
Thank you, Paola. Now let's come back to Spain, and let's check if the two Spanish women have a different opinion. Please, let's start from Maria.
Thank you. I would say we had a High Commissioner for Spain as an entrepreneurial nation that led many things to try to achieve that equality. We have specific funds for women in entrepreneurship. I think from the government, they are giving a lot of visibility to publishing different lists of women in entrepreneurship. We are even discussing at Congress a law that is going to establish parity at boards of directors of companies and also of politics. And there are many networks, private networks, civil society networks of women investors that are looking to help other women entrepreneurs. So I think there is a kind of a good atmosphere. We even have a European big project of 350 entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs from all over Europe in Spain. Is taking place in Spain. So I think it's a good moment, but of course there is so many things to achieve. Like the way is so long that those are just small steps, but there are still many barriers to fight against.
Thank you, Maria. Please, Miriam.
Sí. Bueno, if I have understood correctly, you wanted to know what are the schemes of the government in favor of women entrepreneurs, which is
Yes.
So-
How is politics supporting female entrepreneurs?
well, Spanish government does not have a lot of or really any initiative to my knowledge, and we are also dealing with that at the foundation. You know, Spain is a quite federal country, and this is not really helping the business of the startups and the entrepreneurs, because everything is very much partial divided between autonomous communities, town halls, and this is really not helping. It is a lot of funds, if you want, that they are in the very small portions, going to people without really a clear vision of a strategy. So in this way, I really miss a governmental approach to entrepreneurship in general, in order to really support ecosystems. So what is working better now in the ecosystems are cities. For example, the city of Madrid, the city of Malaga is doing an amazing job with the mayor. Partially is doing something also Barcelona, but Barcelona is being overcome by Malaga by far. So nearly, I think I would say the second hub is now probably Malaga, and the first is now being Madrid. And but we are really missing that the government would do something about that. There was something in Spain has never been really like a priority, I must say. Spain is, it seems that we want to produce civil servants, but not really entrepreneurs. In fact, there are some people in this government that they are doing every kind of thing so that they not the entrepreneurs, not the new ones, but the businessmen really don't have any more feel no more to be businessmen, because they are really feeling attacked. So we must say that in Spain we are not really going through the best epoch of the history for entrepreneurship and for business entrepreneurship. But having said that, there are several also schemes at university levels, above all private, I must say also, and these are where the fundings are. And well, then there are many networks, as Maria said, but they are not really having any governmental aid. And we are also lacking still, and there are a lot of barriers in the access of women to finance, not only from the banking system, but also we are seeing that the difference in financing from the venture capital is already an issue for funding men and women. This is why there are several women networks that they are funding themselves. So projects being developed by women, and this is working quite well.
I feel so lucky to spend this evening and having so quality time here with these 4 successful women. And it's not easy to become an exemplary woman like you. Very often, even the simple fact of being a working woman is not easy. If you have children, if the situation becomes even more complex, especially without a fair sharing of tasks within the family. So how do you manage to reconcile work and private life? Please tell us your secrets. Who want to start? Elizabeth, you again?
I feel I'm right now, I feel that I'm very lucky because, again, when you have an opportunity to meet other figures, male or female, You learn a lot from your colleagues, you learn a lot from the environment in which you live. And this is so true that if we are able to meet more and more often, it will be also a great experience and a step towards parity gender and getting more accomplished also from the political area. I definitely don't think that I do anything special. I just try to live day by day. And as most women, I often put my wishes and my priorities after those of others necessarily. And by others, I mean my colleagues, my staff, but also my company. And we usually are very good at recovering from tiredness and from stress. So this also helps a lot. So I don't really have any ingredients, any special ingredients or any special way of doing things. I just every day try to do my best and understand that if I make a mistake, it's human, and I accept my limits just as I accept everybody others. And that I think very often we expect a lot from ourselves, maybe too much. And this is maybe one of the reasons why a lot of women aren't willing to put themselves into positions where it is possible to make mistakes. And we often do make mistakes because this is nature. But that's all I have to say.
As we say in Italy, no? Errare
Yes.
è umano, make mistakes is human. So
Exactly.
do you say the same in French, Paula?
Yes, the secret, I don't know if I have, but I'm optimistic because I think our grandmother and her grandmother have always known how to conceal the different aspects of life in more difficult conditions than us. So that is the way. So for me, we do our best, but we are not the best. We try to consider everything like before and before and before, and the business is not the same before. When 100 years ago it was different, but it was complicated too, to have many children, to have a complicated condition of life, difficult work too. And for me, it's a good example. My grandmother is a very good example for that. So I think this, and after, if I say 3 points, perhaps the confidence is very important, as I said before. A good entourage, a good family, a good friends is very important to support you because you are not alone. And I think that is important. And perhaps something like the desire to move the line. Our excellent driving force to little move the line, but just move a little bit. Voilà.
Sorry, I didn't open my microphone. And now, Maria?
Yeah, I would say very similar to Elizabeth and to Paola. I accept that I'm imperfect and that I don't manage to be everywhere and to do everything that is expected from me. I try to say no and to put my friends and family as a priority. But I do think that if we think about this as a social problem, equality, at least in politics, will not happen until also men put family and friends as a priority. Because that time that we are with those friends and that family, you are not on those other networks, you are also losing some opportunities. So I think if instead of asking me what I do, we ask ourselves how, as a society, we can fight towards that equality, I would say asking this question to men, getting men who are in business, who are in politics, also to worry how, for them, how they are going to manage to take care of care and of family, demanding of responsibility. No, I think feminism and this fight towards equality implies resignations also from them. So I invite us to ask those questions also to them.
Miriam?
Well, I think that most has been said, but I think that we have improved society quite a lot concerning co-responsibility. We have now legislation that has been taken lately from different administrations, also in Spain, which is really helping women a lot. Actually, this permits of paternity leave is a scheme which really help women to be able to conciliate family life and business life much better than when I had my children. When I had my children, I used to work until 9 and even 10 every day. And there were no things like that, no such a things like today. Today also there are flexible hours. Most companies have already adopted these kind of policies, and these are of a great aid. But from a personal point of view, I would say that one of the most important things for women to compatibilize their private life and their business life is to whom you marry. I think the companion that you decide to share your life with is essential. If you have a partner that really understands co-responsibility, that really wants to share the household echoes and the education, the raising of the children, this is the most amazing help you can have. I mean, flexibility and everything is very nice, and I think it is essential. But there will always be moments in your career, times in your projects where you have to extend. Well, you have to do business trips or extend your hours, or you will have stress or whatever. So for that, the reason you need really to look for a partner that understands co-responsibility exactly like you and want to share the raising of the children exactly like you. And this is very important because I am seeing now several young women that they marry and they abandon their careers. And I wouldn't say that this is completely wrong, but I would say, okay, watch for the future, because nobody now marries for the whole of their life. You get married for the present, but you never know what is going to happen in 30 years. And the worst of the things the worst scenario that I'm seeing now is women in their 50s that have worked like 5 years at the beginning of their career, and they don't know what to do next. And this is a reality that we are seeing more and more often. So that would be my message to the younger generations. And I am for the maternity, I am for family, I am for everything. But these things have been, well, you have to be sensitive about these issues, and you have to take all the decisions you take with your partner, with, I don't know, I would say even with legal consequences of what you choose.
Many thanks, Miriam. During your speech, you said, not now, in the previous question, you say that sometimes women feel a confidence gap with men. They pay this confidence gap. What do you think, Maria, Elizabeth, Paula, and Miriam, about this? Have you ever feel in your experience a confidence gap with men, or do you know someone who feel that?
I tend to think quite a lot as a man. I have been raised as a man. My mother was extremely hard to me. I would say it was Spartanian, as was the times when we were raised. But still, I have felt sometimes the confidence gap when you see all these men surrounding you and you're the only woman and you have to do certain things and all of them are looking at you and they are more interested in what you are wearing than in what you have to say. And then at this point, it's unavoidable that you feel a certain confidence gap, because even the thing is, do I look nice, or I'm going to speak right? And what it is more important, that they find me nice or that they understand what I say? And so these ideas come to you into your mind when you have to do your exposition, your sales, wherever, and you have certain moments of confidence gap. Or when you are also in a meeting or whatever with many men, not eventually only men, but many men, and you say something and nobody cares about what you say. And the 3 turns after you, for example, I have listened to that very, very often when I was member of one of the commissioners' cabinet in the European Commission. So 3 interventions later, a man says exactly the same idea as you said, and all the men say, oh, this is really a good idea. This is really intelligent. Or, yeah, we should do that. And then you say like, oh, well. So I am invisible, my voice is unhearable, and I don't have any good idea.
That's so frustrating. That's so frustrating, no?
Yeah, and this is the if you want now the issue of the women on boards. Yeah, because I mean maybe in listed companies we are starting to be there, but the cultural transformation of the men has not taken place in Spain.
Paula, Elizabeth, Maria, what do you think?
Perhaps quickly, yes, the confidence gap. You see really the confidence gap for me in the business plan, for example, because women are very different with this approach of business plan. When I create the company, I make a small business plan, and nobody believe on it because they say, "Wow, it's a very small one." And now when I help some and mentoring some girl who want to go to internship, they don't make a big shift. They have a small business plan, as they have a big gap of confidence. Because men are a big business plan each time, and something like double or triple in 1 year or something like that. But the good news is that, like we spoke with the investor, you know that women are very often better performance for the first year or the second year than men. So it's 2 mindsets very different. But to attract fund, it's sometimes difficult because they don't show the best and that I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think the imposter syndrome is absolutely real and everywhere. If there is a step you have to take, and you're a woman, you have to have it 100% clear. You have to have you have to be 100% sure and to feel that you fit perfectly for that position. But if you're a man, you will probably feel okay with a 60% of I don't know, of characteristic that you represent. And something that worries me is that this starts very young. When you ask kids, and I'm recalling a research we did with girls from 10 to 12 years, how do you ask them, how are you going to achieve your dreams? Women, little kids, women, they answer with effort, and men, they answer because they have their innate characteristics, the innate facts. So I think this is what should make us think about a social problem, a structural problem, that we are even making kids feel the women will have to make efforts than men.
Absolutely.
I obviously agree 100% with all that's been said so far, and it is absolutely one of our duties to show as much as possible what we do. Now, most of the time, women do a lot and often tend to stay in a shadow position just because this makes everything much easier. And since most of the time we want to achieve the goal, and it doesn't matter if sometimes to achieve that goal we have to put aside all the energy and all the effort that we put in, and we let sometimes others that can be men, most of the time are men, take the value and take the all the compliments for what we've done, but because we wish to be able to work with serenity, because we're not warriors, we want to work, we want to reach our goals, as I said, and this sometimes is not the best solution. Sometimes we should say, no, that was my idea and I want to take all the grant for it, but it's not in our nature many times. But I think that more and more young women must have mothers and sisters and models that can be followed, because they will say, okay, when it's my turn, I want to be in that same position. And obviously, we must always be very proud of what we do. And to be proud doesn't mean to show off necessarily, or to want to be always in the spotlight. But I feel that as long as we are proud of what we do, this is almost enough for us to continue fighting and doing every day all that we do.
Wow, thank you so much. Now the last question for you. How can we define care work today? Is still closely related to the women's realm? Who want to start? Paola?
I'm not sure to exactly understand what for me, it's the question is that women realm as in one kind of work like care work today. For me, women are not in specific care work. We must break the preconceived idea and work with the subject of women or men, the care, and whether in care, but also in tech industry or all the activity. For me, confining women or men in one sector is reductive. So I don't want to, if I could understand, I will understand the question. So for me, I don't want to reduce. However, that does not mean that everyone does not have specificity and more talent, particular talent, but everyone could do everything. So I don't put in the box. That's my comparison.
Elizabeth?
No, even in this case, I'm not for roles. So care work is for women, care work is for sensible people. Now, obviously, we have this in nature, but there are many, many men that are even more caring and more for care work than many women. So I think it's going to take time and communication, examples, literature, movies, everything gradually can change the society. We just have to be determined not to give up. And because we have this duty towards the future women that will arrive.
Miriam?
I think there is still a very big gap between the time that women dedicate to care, to work of care, not only for children, but also for the elderly people. I mean, it's always normally women who are taking care of their parents, even when the parents may have several children. But if they are men, normally men do not dedicate the same type of workshop and of course the same time. And sometimes it's even the women which has to take care of the parents of the husband, which is amazing, for example, no? So it's still, I think it's 2.3 hours more daily that women take care of household and the core echoes than men today. So we still have a long way to go. And I think this kind of differences can only be attained through education, because there's no other possibility. But I think also that there are some mothers who still today do not raise properly their children, because they don't really ask their children, the boys, exactly as the woman, as the girls, and they don't expect the same things, and that should change. They should really change.
Maria?
Yeah, I subscribe everything that was said. I think it's still a very big issue, the big issue. As Elizabeth said, I think it is a social construction that care equals women. In Spain, we have a very important movement that maybe can inspire other countries, which is called I Don't Resign. And that is making visible all those stories that of resignation of women who had to resign because they were mothers. So I think this is making even the political class more sensible about all the issues, and even the discussion about we have a working day of 8 hours in Spain. The discussion to reduce the working day, it has to do also with care and with the people who would be more benefited by this would be women. So I think it's good to have movements such as I Don't Resign, because they are making more conscious everyone who has to take the decisions, actually, because if not, we will have to wait 60 years to achieve equality, and I don't think we have to resign to that amount of years.
Many thanks to all of you. Unfortunately, due to a technical problem today, one of our guests can't be with us, and she is Sabine Röhrig-Mahut from Germany. So I'd like to say hello to Sabine and to thank her for all the work that we did in the last days just to organize this conference. I'd like to show you, all of you, who Sabine is. So please, I would like to launch her video.
Hello, my name is Sabine Röhrig-Mahut, and I'm founder and director of Wisama Bildungsgesellschaft, a non-profit education provider in Leipzig in Germany. I founded Wisama in 2005 with the goal of making a contribution to education and intercultural communication understanding for a tolerant and open region in the center of Europe. In this context, education, lifelong learning is as important as dialogue and exchange between people, encouraging a broader horizon and perspective beyond one's own. Specifically, this means that we are working in 3 different areas. The first one is European exchange. We send young people and adults from Saxony and our neighbor federal state, Saxony-Anhalt, to internships and programs to further their education all over Europe. This helps them enhance their personal skills, linguistic skills, social and also, of course, their professional skills with this labor market perspectives. We participate in the Erasmus Plus program and provide also regional mobility advice on site for the German National Agency. We collaborate with the State Office for Schools and Education of Saxony, several vocational schools, adult education providers, companies, and other organizations and NGOs of our region. In our language school, we primarily focus on integration courses for German as a foreign language for individuals with migrant background, supporting their professional integration and also life in Germany. Additionally, we advocate for dialogue and exchange by organizing different events like storytelling cafes, especially during the intercultural weeks. And our third area promotes cooperation and exchange between education providers from all over Europe for innovation and quality in education. We exchange ideas on educational content and different methods. We develop new joint approaches. And in various important subjects for education. The results of this work all benefit for European society. We work on European funding programs like Erasmus Plus or Citizens' Equality Rights and Values program with the predecessor programs, the Asylum, Migration, Integration Fund, and others, of course. Visama has stood for many reliable and innovative work in European education for many years. We have been recognized for this on several occasions, and many of our projects are listed by the European Commission as good practice examples. And an exciting project on storytelling as a method in basic and political education just recently has received the Innovation Award for Continuing Education by the Federal State of Saxony. Such awards, as well as the direct feedback by our participants and our partners, is a great motivation for us to keep going and to continue our commitment to education, openness, and tolerance in a common Europe.
I would now ask to our audience if they could be so kind to fill the survey that they can find on the same page that they use for login at the meeting, and to follow us in the next meetings that we are going to organize. You will be invited from all our partners. What else? Now we are closing for the day. I'd like to thank our guests. A very huge thank to Elizabeth Vargiu, to Maria Escudero,
Thank you.
to Miriam Izquierdo, and to Paola Fabiani. Many thanks for everything you do, for the time that you spend here with us. And obviously, thanks to Sabine Rodiger-Mau as well. So sorry that she couldn't be with us today, but I know that she really appreciates the project. So thank you, Sabine. Many, many thanks. What else? Thanks to our partners, Confcommercio Imprese per l'Italia Nord Sardegna, Solidaridad Sin Fronteras, Luna di Gas, Université de Corse Pascal Pauli, the Italian Chamber of Commerce for Germany, Excamp e Cámara de Comercio e Industria Italiana para España. From me, a huge thank to Alberto Marrone and Cinzia Giaghedu for supporting me in these days. And what else? It's been a wonderful conversation. Stay tuned and keep following us on our social media. Thank you. Thank you so much.